Hello and welcome to the basement where D&D is meant to be played. I'm Dakota, King of the Cardboard Castle, here with the illustrious Benjamin Tutko.
Ooh.
To get a very personal look at his character before we begin on our new show, Paper Stars, which premieres on December 26th right here on YouTube. Keep an eye out for over the next few weeks for the rest of the cast, as well as behind-the-scenes photos and schedule updates on our Twitter at The Trash Castle. The Cardboard Castle was taken. We'll jump in just a second, but first, if you would indulge me for a moment, Vomar would like to say hello to you. The earth beneath the city of Odiev does not know you as you step off of the shuttle and onto the landing pad. It does not know you as you walk the paved marketplaces around it, and as you step onto the hastily made and already crumbling structures one after another, as you find shade from the heat of the late summer day on covered stone patios. It does not know you until you set foot onto soft clover in the decaying remains of a city park. The earth knows you then, as much as it ever desired to. This world is old, in a way you cannot and dare not attempt to comprehend. She sings in a language that's been dead for a myriad, at a tempo so slow that only the stars can hear it as song. She's a strange singer. She welcomes you as much as she loathes you. She feels the thread of mystery upon you, and welcomes your familiar sense of adventure, buried as it is under your worldly woes. At the same time, she knows that you could be her demise, as destructive as all the interstellar travelers before you. But by the time her song catches up to ask you her questions, she has lost you in the milling crowds. No matter. Her focus moves on to the next creature that she must care for. So, Thramlas the Forsaken. You came to Vonar in search of refuge. The events you seek to escape are still fresh in certain eyes. And you'd rather be as far from core systems as possible. Vonar is safer than most places given circumstance and given the distance. And if you're recognized out here, well, you just hope that nobody actually cares that much. Not, this far past frontier space.
Yeah.
So, as you wander the streets, taking in the sights of the city, before you settle into your chosen task, would you like to describe yourself?
Well, a Thramlas is a Brovish, which for most of you, it's a Dragonborn, a space Dragonborn, bronze of scale. A lot of garish jewelry, some of it fake, some of it real. Thermal clothes, stuff to help keep in the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it in a deep green color, complementing their scales. Trimmed in both black and a light blue color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's obvious that some of the jewelry is fake.
Mm-hmm.
Harder to tell with others.
Some of it's like big, obvious plastic jewels,
Yes.
and some of it is potentially a little more real. You're kind of walking this cramped marketplace, this winding street that obviously there are parts of this city that were not very well planned out, that just kind of grew and morphed, and then other parts of the city that are well laid out in grids. This is not one of them. The marketplace is covered with different cloth canopies and milling with people. There's not a lot of celebratory air. It's very much people just kind of going about their rather early morning, getting regular shopping done. Not a lot of shouting of wares. Just not a quiet marketplace, but not necessarily a boisterous one.
Yeah.
You've just disembarked from the Terminus, which is an Astra class vessel that you spent quite a lot of time on your way to the outer reaches. Some of the crew, the younger and more brash members, wanted you to stay and sign on with them in earnest, much to the chagrin of the captain. She's a Mayshari woman of no small renown, and she was very wary of that your presence would bring unwanted attention to her crew. So you parted on forcefully good terms. You've only got a day or two in Odiev before they depart, and the rest of your second life to figure out where to go and what to do and who to be, as long as you can keep your head down.
Yes.
This is a city with endless possibilities, but one where the very walls might have ears. It's perhaps in your best interest to travel out and away for a little bit before maybe coming back and seeing what it has to offer.
Yeah.
the captain pulled in a favor with a friend of hers and got you a free place on a caravan that's set to go into the mountains to another city. She strongly suggested you take her up on it. You've got a few days to decide what to do with that offer. For now, what would you like to do with your temporary independence? It's late in the afternoon and the market around you is bustling, sound and activity. What are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm gonna crowd surf, see what I can pick up from the locals.
Okay. Are you just kind of wandering around and listening? Are you interacting with people? Are you...
Mostly wandering around and listening. If I catch something of relative interest, specifically that of any of the other potential people going out on the caravan, I would like to listen in more on that.
Well, the caravan itself is setting off from kind of the edge of the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's a specific office of a specific trader that is sponsoring this caravan going up through the mountains. You could probably head there and keep an eye on that, or you could just mill about the market for a little more, or go talk to them directly.
I'm going to mill around the market a little bit, and then I'll head over to the...
Roll me a perception check. Just general, for the whole day, what can you pick up?
Oof. That's a rough start.
Fun.
Yeah.
First roll of the game.
My perception makes that a 7.
A 7. A 7. This will be fun. Luckily for you, I rolled a 6.
Oh, yes.
1 plus 5. You're wandering about. You're kind of... The locals don't necessarily want to... They're not avoiding you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this kind of air of... And as you kind of look around, as you kind of like get a sense of the crowd, you can very easily pick out who the galactic people are and who the Vomaran people are, because... And that's not necessarily a hard and fast, these species are Vomaran and these species are galactic. It's more a political divide, where you can see the people who dress as if they belong to the rest of the galaxy, and you can see the people who dress as if they want to hold on to the traditions of their world. There's kind of a unwillingness to mix the two. It's very rare to see groups of those cultures mixing together, speaking. They very much have kind of subconsciously separated themselves into different pockets of the market. As you're kind of focusing in on this and like trying to pick out what you can socially about that divide, what's the weirdness that, how can you exploit that, basically?
Yes.
You feel a little tug at one of your, like a brooch on one of your kind of like draping bits of clothing. You feel a little tug and shit, and there's a small figure that is darting back into the crowd.
I will follow them.
Follow them. Are you going to do so quietly? Or are you going to crash through the streets after this figure?
Relatively quietly.
Okay.
Trying to keep up mostly than anything else.
Roll me a stealth check and another perception check.
Oh, hey, that stealth is actually great.
Okay.
With my dex, that's a 21.
21, and your perception?
7.
7.
Wow.
You start to head through the crowd, and you're so focused on making sure that, you know the direction. Okay, I'm going to make sure that nobody really sees me go. And then you realize you didn't actually get a good enough look at the figure, and you've lost them entirely. But now you're a stall or two down further in the market, and you kind of check yourself, and they didn't actually take anything. Looks like they felt like they were going to get caught before they actually managed to lift some of your jewels off of you, but it was costume jewelry, and anyway that they were picking out, it was a little firefly shaped or dragonfly shaped brooch with a little plastic jewel in the center. But that figure's gone. But beyond that, there's people don't really, like, if you get close enough to listen to them, you don't really feel confident that you can actually get much of their conversation before they notice you getting close to them. You're getting a little self-conscious with kind of the glances people shoot your way. You see a couple of, like, Vomaran Dragonborn, which look very different from the Bravash for some reason. There's just the way they carry themselves is very, very different from how the Bravash often carry themselves, just in a general, both bone structure way, and there's kind of a weight of tradition to the Dragonborn here that the Bravash don't really have. But you don't really feel confident necessarily in being able to get close enough to people before they kind of look at you askance and change the subject and move on to something else.
Yeah, it doesn't help that my appearance is quite eye-catching.
You are quite dazzling.
Yeah, especially with my eyes.
Would you like to describe your eyes?
Yes. So there are essentially two ways that the eyes look. For those who are up close, who can actually pretty much see the whites of your eyes, their eyes actually appear almost as though congealed orbs of blood. For those who are at a larger distance, it seems as though his eyes are missing, or their eyes are missing entirely, and it's just mists of red that hang around their head.
Fucking creepy. Awesome.
Yeah, well, when you're a blood crystal oracle.
Yeah, it's eye-catching indeed.
Yes.
Someone caught those eyes. Anyway, anything else you'd like to do in the market, or do you want to change your tactics?
I'll change the tactics.
Okay.
I'll take up on the lead I was given.
Okay.
Since it's hard for me to understand these people.
Fair enough. And a lot of them are speaking in languages that you don't understand, that you haven't picked up. Vomaran it's a beautiful language, Vomaran Common, but it's not based in any root languages you know. It's not like speaking German and listening to Dutch. It's very, very different.
Yeah, and on my travels I will cast Comprehend Language.
Okay. You head east toward the edge of the city where this caravan is supposed to set off from. There's a couple of people who you were instructed to speak to. There's the person in charge of the caravan who's like actually doing all of the work, and then there's a Vomaran enchanter who is moving all of her stuff from one city to another, moving her entire business from one city to another. There's several other independent travelers, and that list hasn't closed yet. So there's several people who could enter that list before you get your hands on it. After you get your hands on it. There's another Demosian contractor that's hiring security. There's a lot of people who are going to be part of this. If you want to get your hands onto that list, though, your best bet is to talk to a Wuther woman, Valisor, who does a lot of the administration work.
I will speak with Valisor.
Okay. You head toward the building that this company is housed in, and they're using it kind of as like just a staging area. This company moves minerals from, that are mined near Odiev to Fort Pine Point and sells them to the Domus Collective. Sells them there. Usually sells them off-world. And they kind of use this building as a staging area just to get the caravans to and from. You see, as you kind of approach this building, there's a line of like hovering kind of carts, and then several classic wooden, oxen pulled carts. One of them has 2 horses hooked up to it, but the other 2 have oxes. And there is one Wuther woman. She's she's about 4 feet tall, stocky, very, very dark blue skin that almost has like green splotches on it. Like, kind of looks like oxidized almost. With just a single eye right in the center of the head, you know. Very stocky build, very heavy build. And she's just very quietly going over like a ledger and looking through each of the hover carriages that are, you know, set on the ground. They're not currently aloft, but just checking off items. And she's just kind of, if you approach, she doesn't look up. And what do you want?
Hoping you are Velasol.
Yes.
I was instructed to meet up with you for a short period of time.
And you are?
Thramlas.
Flips through like 3 different pages on the. Oh! Actually joining us.
Yes, and I was.
I said you probably wouldn't. And kind of like scribbles something next to your name and like puts a little asterisk and flips back over. How can I help you?
I was wondering if you'd be able to, one, point me to a good place for resting for the next couple of days, and two, I was wondering if I can get a little bit of information about those who are potentially joining us.
Why do you want to know who's joining us?
I'm sure from her you can understand why I would like to know who is with us, but...
Would it work for me to say that I have vetted each person as much as possible?
It does bode well that you would speak so highly of them. However, I still like to do my own personal work in case something happened to slip through some of the gaps.
He kind of like narrows her eye at you and kind of like just stares down all of that. Are you an inspector?
Insight check, what the hell that means. Ooh, hey, that's actually really good. What kind of inspector is she expecting? It's a 16.
16. She kind of seems to be fucking with you a little bit, but also kind of like, you get the sense of if you're not necessarily someone official, that's not really information she's going to just hand out. But
yeah.
Are you an inspector?
All inspectors are great at hiding.
Say it again.
All inspectors are great at hiding. Definitely deception. If she's willing to even fight me on this.
No. And she will like flip back through to the page that has your name on it. I cannot give you every name because some people, you know, ask for privacy, whatever. I'm not going to give you individuals' names because that just seems like a shitty thing to do. But there are 3 companies represented. There is myself. I'm organizing the caravan. I pay for a guide. She should be coming into town tomorrow. We have an enchanter. Her name is Amber. She is moving from here to Fort Pine Point. Her stuff is wonderful. She's actually come through here a couple of times to sell.
I'll have to look at her stuff.
She is, well, you'll meet her. A few independent travelers under the banner of the guide who is joining us. They pay me, I pay her. You see how it goes. I am hiring for security. I have not hired anyone yet. The position is open. If I hire anyone, that the information is public knowledge, sort of. But if you would like to be hired for security, can you do your
Yeah.
big?
I actually do security.
Would you like to do security work?
Is this not what I'm going to be trying to do anyways? Yes.
Alright, well, it's pay upon arrival. So if you're an absolute lout, we do not pay you. And she kind of like marks a couple of things off and, you know, scratches things next to your name. It is 100 credits upon arrival and 200 hazard pay if an event occurs. There's a contract here, and she, pulls out a contract from the back of her thing and starts filling out parts of it. There's a contract here that lists what kind of events qualify for hazard pay, including but not limited to injuries, any kind of combat, wildlife dangers, or sufficient natural hazards. And she just starts listing off what count as sufficient natural hazards. Pay is subject to the opinion of myself and our guide that you have done a good enough job and have not been allowed and have assisted us with the dangers on the road. Does that sound good to you?
Yes.
All right. And she kind of marks off and signs her portion of the contract and hands it over to you to look over. Do you actually read through it?
I read through it.
Okay. It is in Galactic.
Okay.
And there is under each line a translation in really small italics into a language you don't recognize that you've seen elsewhere, so you assume it's Vomaran Common.
Comprehend language.
Comprehend languages. Does that... Is that written language?
Nope, it's here. I also understand any written language that you see.
Yeah, it is. Does it say you know what language it is, or just that you comprehend
I
it?
understand it.
Okay, you understand it, you're not sure what the language is. But you assume it's probably Vomaran Common.
Yeah.
But it's in italics in really small, and it just repeats what is said above. The wording in Vomaran Common is a little tighter. It's a little almost more specific.
So where one word in basic requires 4 words in Vomaran?
Sort of. It almost feels like not a direct translation. It feels as though it was translated slightly differently. You don't know if it's just a bad translation or if that was intentional, but some of the conditions almost seem shifted in Vomaran Common versus in Galactic. Galactic definitely seems to give more leeway.
Yeah.
Whereas Vomaran Common is a little more in these specific instances are the only times you get paid. So.
Okay. So the hazard stuff is a little bit more lenient in Galactic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take for that what you will. But do you sign it?
If I don't catch anything shifty, yes.
Roll me an investigation check.
This dice is not happy.
Maybe you need a different dice.
Probably. Well, I got the whole bag. Investigation. It's terrible. It's a 1.
A 1?
Yeah.
A dirty 1?
Yeah, dirty 1.
A dirty 1.
My dice are all over the place.
It seems on the up and up. I mean, you get about halfway through and your eyes kind of start to cross. It's oh my god, that's a lot of legalese. It's a lot of small print. I'm just gonna fucking sign it. And you get legalese exhaustion, and sign the page.
1 point of legal exhaustion.
Yeah. You have disadvantage on anything that involves reading for the next day.
Got it.
Trust me, I would know fucking legalese. But is all right. Fantastic. If you would like to show up probably at least 2 hours before we leave, I can introduce you to everyone. Since you're going to be working security with us, you will probably be our only contract security because no one ever takes this job.
Well, if I am going to be the only one who takes this job, can I get a more descript list of names?
Considering...
I know you do well. I know you do great work. However, there is still always a chance.
And the eye in the middle of the head actually comes out on this long stalk and comes up 2 feet and looks as close up
as close
4
to
foot tall,
yeah.
6 foot tall. How tall are you?
I'm 7'10".
Yeah, still a ways down, but as close up to your face as possible. And just kind of squints at you.
Don't blink at all, even though it's very difficult to tell.
Do you have eyes to blink?
No, not really.
I will give you a list of names when you show up on the day.
It makes doing security difficult.
Considering I don't have a full list of names yet, because not everyone has signed up yet.
How about I swing by the day 12 hours before? 20.
Considering that's about 12 hours from now.
I'll see you in 12 hours.
All right. Checks her watch and. Okay, I've got more things to figure out. Now I have 3 more things of paperwork, and just starts muttering to herself. Then Stock kind of retracts back in and starts scribbling things. Pulls out a fresh, just like notebook sheet, and just like starts scribbling things on it, like a new to-do list, and crossing things off, and goes back to doing an audit of everything that they have.
I will leave her to her work.
Okay.
Try not to be too much of a pain in the ass, but
okay.
if I'm going to be doing security for these people, I want to know who I'm having to secure.
Where else are you going to go?
Probably a tavern that's nearby here.
Okay.
Since it seems to be a more galactic-friendly neighborhood.
Okay. You did also get, I neglected that, you got the address of the woman who's moving her business to the Fort Pine Point colony if you'd like to speak to her, as well as the name of a tavern that most people who take this caravan usually hold up in.
Yeah. Well, actually, I will speak. I'm assuming this is the enchanter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll speak with Amber.
They're pretty close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
The inn that you would be staying at if you do choose to stay there is like 2 streets down from. It's called Amber's Apothecary, but like apothecary is scratched out on the sign, like as if that was a design choice, not like she changed careers. It's scratched out on the sign, and there's just like a list of different kinds of enchantments that she does. And they're just like one sign hung on another sign, hung on another sign, hung on another sign. It's a gimmick. But if you kind of like, there's no light in the building, like it's not like anyone's got a lantern or anything in the building. And you kind of look in the window and it's like empty of stuff, but there are people like milling about in the back room. The door is open. Do you go in?
Yes.
You kind of walk in and there's this kind of magical, you don't move the door at all, but there is a little chime that goes off as you pass the door, and from the back room, we're closed, I'm sorry, if you come to, I'm sorry, and she like kind of wanders out from the back and is carrying this big box. You see a youngish Earth Genasi woman with like dark amber skin, like amber is in the stone, and it almost looks on first glance like, when you look at really dark amber and you feel like you can see in a couple of millimeters before it becomes like opaque. That's kind of what her skin looks like, is that like light will come through it at the edges and have this like light amber glow, but it's dark, like black amber is her whole facade. Fully bald, bright like emerald green eyes, and I mean like emerald. And she's just carrying a box and heaves it onto the counter. I'm sorry, you've come in at a really bad time. I'm moving.
I am actually with the caravan.
Oh, I'm so. Is there a problem? Oh, please don't tell me there's a problem.
No, I was just coming. I'm part of the security. I was just coming to see how things were going.
Yes. It's all a little bit last minute. I'm sorry. What was your name?
Thramlas.
Thramlas. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Amber, and she like comes around
and I will
and shakes her hand. I'm very sorry. I'm a bit of a mess right now. We're trying to get everything packed.
I was just in that place a little while ago.
It's a pain. How can I help you?
Well, actually, this is a question for DM.
Yes.
Do I have that ring set yet? Or is this pre-ring set?
Pre,
okay. Would she be one of the people I would talk to about the specific item or no?
She could be.
Okay, in that case, we'll continue.
Yeah. How can I help you?
know this might be a bit of a strain, but I was looking to enchant a set of rings to help with the travels ahead.
Well, what are you looking for exactly?
Something that can improve the focus of the arcane, so to speak, and possibly ones that could enhance one natural fingers.
Just kind of, goes from being very jovial to kind of like appraising, not in a judgmental way, but in like a trying to figure out a new client kind of way. When you say arcane, are you talking about...
I will cast a spell in front of her. And
hang on. Come here, do that again.
And pretty much...
What spell are you casting?
This particular spell... would be resistance, since that way I don't... Or I'll do guidance on her.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
So pretty much... It'd be a slight movement of the... kind of like a... One of those people who are really good with moving coins across their fingers.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, with essentially a trail of blood going from the eyes.
Great.
Or pretty much some of the mist congealing down into the points on their fingertips as he touches her and gives her some guidance.
Do that one more time.
I will cast guidance on myself.
Great. And she is going to make an Arcana check. Yeah, and I'm going to throw it out of my dice tray. That's what, a D4?
Woo. Yeah, D4.
Congrats. Just helped her figure you out. Interesting. I can try. I'm more specialized in, Vomaran magic, not necessarily dark matter magic that the rest of the galaxy works on. Still trying to figure that out. I can attempt. I don't know if I can attempt right now.
That's fair.
I can...
You and I can experiment on the road.
My partner is going to be the one who's driving the carriage. I could probably work on that on the carriage on the way. Might take me a few days.
Well, considering I don't expect trouble to occur immediately, I think it should be okay.
Do you expect trouble to occur?
I am new to this planet. I expect trouble everywhere.
Fair. I was hoping you'd been with the caravan before. Do you know the guide? Have you met the guide? I hear good things about the guide.
You probably know more than I do.
Great.
That's part of the reason why I'm security. It's because I don't know anything and I don't know anyone.
You got hired because you don't know anything?
Would you rather trust someone who doesn't trust anything?
I'm confused.
That's fair.
I'm very sorry.
Part of the reason why I'm part of the security is because I don't know anyone here. Therefore, people cannot bribe me to do anything.
That's a good point.
Who are they going?
Huh.
Yes. They don't know that I am a part of security. They don't know who I am or what, more or less, my price is. It's the easiest way of putting it.
Hang on 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good thing to know. I was hoping we were just going to be walking to Fort Pine Point, but, we're not going to worry about that, because if I worry about that, I'll worry about everything. I will attempt. Do you have the rings you want me to enchant, or do you want me to use something in my own?
I will bring out... Actually, I don't have a spare set. If you can... Actually... With all my extra shit, I think I might actually have a second set. Oh well.
I mean, if you have, because you had just that bundle of real and fake jewels in your inventory, you could just hand wave and say there are some rings in there.
Yeah, definitely then.
Okay. Wonderful. That knocks down cost. It would probably be a base of 150 gold? Sorry, you're galactic. What is that? What is that in...
I can do gold.
You can do... Okay, good. Good. 'Cause, good. 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 Sorry, I need to stop saying sorry is what I need to do.
You need to breathe.
I'm moving my entire life to a different city that I've been to twice. So,
No.
it's fine. It's all fine.
Coming from someone whose galaxy is away from their own home,
I shouldn't be complaining, you're correct.
even a small journey is difficult. You get used to it.
I hope so. But yes, 150 gold or 150 gold. Depending on how quickly I'm able to get them done, I should have them done by the end of the trip, depending on distraction. But yes, probably before we get to the second town. We'll see. I'll let you know. Can I take these
Yes.
over the evening? Thank you very much. And I will have that ready for you. Payments upon completion. I'm not doing full commissions right now. Not doing that. Doing that. Sorry.
Don't stress.
Too late.
Well, since I'm already causing you some stress, how can I help?
Could you help me move some of these boxes?
Yes.
And she kind of directs you. She has a cart out back that she is loading. She's got a couple of, like, she has most of her boxes packed away already, but it's like the heavy stuff that she's very capable of lifting. She's a very strong woman, but it's just kind of, it helps to have two people and arranging everything.
Plus someone who's just shy of 8 feet can easily put something on the back of a cart.
Right, and then she realizes halfway through, like, oh fuck, there's things that I'm going to need to access that are in the back of the cart, and, you know, having to crawl over everything and drag a specific crate out so that it's on the back of the cart so she can access it while she's traveling. It's an ordeal. It only takes you about an hour to get everything squared away, and she thanks you profusely, shaking your hands. And I will have that ready for you as soon as I possibly can. I will update you throughout the journey. I need a nap. And
I can't sleep. No. I don't even think I have sleep, so it's fine.
And just as you're leaving, you see an elven woman kind of coming, like, you leave the building, and there's an elven woman who kind of, like, comes in and love him home, and, like, heads in, and you can kind of clock when she said her partner, that's probably her. But
Okay.
what else would you like to do with your day?
Well, I'm going to see if I can get in touch with an information dealer.
Okay. Specifically the one that the captain told you to look out for? Okay. The captain did not give you a name, which was kind of, she did that on purpose. You can tell. But you go looking. There are a couple of markets that you can only really see or access from specific angles of specific streets. There is an element of the fantastical throughout this city. There's an element of things that you only find in fairy tales, really. These strangely built stone buildings that look like they've been around forever. Longer than a lot of structures that you find in other places in the galaxy, because they just get torn down and built new and better, but these places have tradition down into their bones. And you kind of wonder about this specific market that you're supposed to look for. Make a investigation check.
Ooh, it's a natural 19 for a total of 18, if I'm correct. Investigation?
Yes.
Yeah, 18.
18. Fantastic. You start to wander around, and you start to get just a little bit lost in the sights of the city, as, you know, it's getting about the time of day where you get that golden glow of just before sunset, and it's kind of peeking through the peeking over gables and through alleyways, and you wander and you lose yourself a little bit until, oh, son of a bitch, there's that symbol I was supposed to look for on, just scratched onto a wall, and it looks almost like a moth, kind of, just scratched in chalk on a specific alleyway. And, you kind of wander in and you peek because you don't want to just wander into an alleyway in a strange, kind of shady part of town, let's be honest. And you peek in and there's what looks to be just like a regular like alleyway full of trash, and then a little bit past it you can see kind of like a glow of lantern light, and as you're looking in, as you're kind of deciding whether or not to go in, it kind of clicks that a lot of this trash and a lot of this piling up looks to be intentional. Like this alley was made dirty and inaccessible on purpose so that people don't wander into it. And so you kind of, weave your way in, and you can hear laughter and whatnot from around the corner of this alleyway back behind. And there's very clearly this sort of like covered patio, almost hangout spot that has been built, just the kind of hideaway you dream of when you're a kid. Warm lantern light surrounding it, and there's a couple of people. There's an elven man. There is what looks to be you can't quite clock, maybe human, but not, You're used to Demosian humans. You've seen a Vurix human once. That was terrifying. Doesn't necessarily look... Human is the closest you can get. But they've got, long kind of pinkish, like rose gold hair that's, trailing down in two braids, and like golden skin, and just like there's something way too pretty about this person. You don't know if that's like a crush or whatever, but they don't seem to have a gender, and they don't seem to have a care in the world. Kind of leaning on a set of pillows, there's the elven man with dark black hair and very well trimmed suit that almost looks Demosian in make. And then there's a dragonborn gentleman. There is a silver dragonborn gentleman who is sitting across from the elven gentleman, and he is kind of sitting cross-legged and just very, very proper, and doesn't really seem to be moving much. Like he'll move his eyes and like very, very, he's very stoic. And he immediately, as soon as you're in range, just clocks you and just like follows you with his eyes. He doesn't seem hostile necessarily, but he is the first person who notices you, and as soon as like he clocks you, the other two kind of trail off from their conversation. The quote-unquote human one. Can we help you?
Potentially, yes.
Potentially.
Yes. Trying to hunt down a bit of information. And I was told of a specific location that helps with finding such stuff. Information.
That's, very vague of you.
What was the captain's name again?
The captain's name was Andrea.
Okay. Andrea said that this location can help.
Oh, well, you should have said something. Come here, have a drink. And, like, the Dragonborn has not changed tone. The quote-unquote human one's like, oh, I'm your best friend now. And the elven gentleman kind of, like, perks up and scoots over for you to sit next to him. Well, Andrea sent you. How do you know Andrea?
She helped me move from one home to another.
Say no more, say no more. What do you need to know?
Everything you can about a trip that is coming up soon.
A trip?
Yes, there is a caravan that's about to move out in a day or so.
Caravans move in and out all the time.
Yes, but this one I'm being a part of. I'm headed to... Why am I forgetting these names? The,
Fort Pine Point?
Fort Pine Point, thank you.
I mean, the Black Hollow Pass is not as popular these days, but
Everything you can give me about the travel to and from, what sort of creatures I should be prepared for,
that's not our specialty at all.
and the people who are going on the journey.
That is our specialty, and the quote-unquote human one. Well,
I have a partial list so far, if that will assist.
that would be very helpful, yes. Can we see it?
I've pulled it out, and I slide it forward.
Okay. I'll kind of, look it over. Your guide is coming. Good luck.
Is that a good luck or a bad?
Oh, and the elven gentleman is kind of looking over the list as well. Oh, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's fantastic. Don't worry, she won't. Kind of like squints at you. She might not hurt you. He's kind of got this like little grin, like it really depends on your behavior.
Okay.
Let me see. Kami is your guide. She's good luck. Oh, Kami is a new assistant. I see. I have no idea what the fuck this is. Hayes? I don't know. Who's Hayes? Let us see. Amber, she's very lovely. I'm very sad that she's leaving. She helped me with... We're not talking about that. Really, all of these people are just kind of people. I don't know what exactly you're looking for. What are you trying to suss out?
Their knowledge base.
Their knowledge base.
Yes, I know, it's very vague and very strange. But their connections, who they know, what they know, things to potentially watch out for.
I mean, most of these people are just
People.
regular travelers.
Okay.
Amber and Valisur are probably the two that are most connected, from what I can see. And Kami knows everybody. Everybody knows Kami, but some people don't want to know Kami.
Sounds intriguing.
She's someone who you have to experience. She's someone who you have to experience to understand. I mean, Amber's an enchanter. She has some connections with the Demosians, but only on like a trade basis. That's why she's moving to Fort Pine Point. I'm very sad. I'm very, very sad. We understand you're sad. And the human kind of pats him on the back, like over you, like reaches over and pat him on the back. I need you to roll me a perception check real fast.
What did I just get stolen from? Yeah, great. My perception's terrible today. It's 8.
8. Okay. Yes, we know it's very sad. But I mean, this is just kind of a normal caravan. I don't really see anyone to look out for here. I don't know what you're worried about.
It's not worry, it's just curiosity.
Oh, that's worry. That's worry that you have. Tell me what you're running from there, friend.
What are you willing to pay?
What are you willing to pay for our help? I'll take a secret for a secret. We've given you a lot of information for free. And he's just gonna wait you out.
Mm-hmm. My home was destroyed. I am seeking information, knowledge, and connections for those who destroyed it.
And your home swear.
Is this that long codex name that I have?
Yes.
I rattle that off.
I have no idea where the fuck that is.
Precisely.
Well, I can't help you, actually.
I know. It took me a while to get the information that I have.
And you came here for more.
For something else entirely.
Alright.
Since it's the people on this planet. I'm looking for information about the people on this planet. Who they are, what they know.
It's a big planet.
It is. That's why I'm asking for only a few people.
Those people are just people.
Yes.
They know about their lives. They know about their families, their friends, their customers. I don't think most people have what you're looking for.
And then I'll be happy for that.
Probably good enough.
Now what did you take from me?
Are you asking me, the DM? Or are you
No,
asking him?
I'm asking him.
Excuse me? The disrespect?
Oh, please. We both love it.
He'll pull out of his pocket 3 gold and give it back to you, as well as a ring.
I leave the free gold. I knew I was going to get something stolen from me.
You're no fun.
Please, when you work the circus, you know.
Fair enough. Oh, there's one more name on the list, just because you've impressed me. That's interesting. They're written down as individuals, but there's an entertainment company as part of that group.
Entertainment company.
Entertainment company. They're all musicians. Well, musicians. I think this one's an acrobat, and this one is a street magician.
That will be interesting.
They travel together, but they usually, split up across streets and complement each other's music. It's kind of a fun thing. They travel back and forth all the time, but they're really harmless. But this one points to a particular name. This one can really sing. You really want to listen to that one.
Well, we'll see if I can coax something out on the trip.
This one and points to the first name of the little section of the list that they had pointed to. This one is a fucking rat bastard and he owes me money.
Which name is that?
What did I write down? Petrov Romanov. Why did I write that? What the fuck was that name? Petrov Romanov.
And owes... How much does he owe you?
I don't know however much you can get out of him. He's a rat bastard.
Owes money.
Bait him up if you have to.
I'll see what I can get for you.
Very helpful of you. Well, any other ways we can help you? Anything else I can assist you with? Thinking about that a little hard, aren't you? Other things you desire?
A good place to rest.
Rest, you say?
Yes.
Well, that's boring. Candle glowing is probably your best bet.
Can I have you repeat that more slowly?
Candle glow in is probably
Okay.
your best bet.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Always.
Until next time.
And there better be a next time.
I'll get up and leave.
And they kind of go back to their conversation. You kind of head out into the night, and it is now, just cresting into night. Do you head to the inn, or do you do anything else for your day?
No, actually, I'll do some street readings.
Street readings? Okay.
Street readings.
Okay. You set up on... Are you setting up on this street, or are you finding somewhere a little more...
A little bit more public.
Okay. Are you looking for well-off public, or are you looking for more common public?
Curious public.
Curious public. Okay.
Those who are willing to approach me.
Okay. You set up on a street corner, on not necessarily a street corner, but on the edge of this kind of what was once, a town center, town square that, the town has grown up around it, and it's a nice little neighborhood center, but it's not as important as it once was. There's a fountain in the center that is kind of sputtering. It doesn't have quite enough water in it. And it's, the water that's there doesn't smell quite great, but it's fine. You set off kind of to the side in front of a closed down, what was once a shop that is empty. There's like a hook where a sign once was, and then, just empty. Set up your blanket and your whatever you've brought with you to kind of make the space more inviting. There's a couple of lanterns that are not lit at the front of the store, but you can kind of set up in between them, and you can light them and kind of frame yourself in them.
I do that.
All right.
And if I have to, I'll cast a firebolt to light things.
Dramatic, okay.
Yes.
And they light easily enough. And you get this kind of nice mystical glow around you. And there's some interest. Roll me a just persuasion check for the sake of, approachability.
That's a 18.
18. You get a couple of...
Actually, wait, nope, sorry. That's a 21.
Nice. You get a couple of, curious travelers. You get a couple of people who are used to a different tradition of card reading. You actually make... I roll in my dice tray. In total, how much do you charge for a reading? Is it just kind of whatever people are willing to pay? Or
it's more what they're willing to pay.
Okay.
Those who pay more, I will give a more in-depth reading to.
Okay.
But as to basic stuff, I'll just use the deck of cards for those who are actually wondering about the wheels of time. I will cast... I will burn my life form for augury. Yeah.
Okay. You get 7 or so people. You make a total of 4 gold, 7 silver. Most people are just there for curiosity, and a couple of people are there for actual readings. And as the cluster of moons that surround this planet, there are 14 moons. They're very small. They're more like small asteroids. As the 14 moons of this planet kind of rise and scatter the sky, and you're just about to pack up, just as you look away, there's kind of a plop in front of you. You look, and there's a youngish girl, maybe half elven, maybe human. You don't know. Her hood is up, and you haven't been here quite long enough to get a sense of the people of this planet, but human adjacent, maybe 16, no older, kind of plops down and, legs crossed. I need help.
How can I help?
You can tell the future, right?
I can show you. I can assist.
Can you tell the future or not?
Yes.
Okay, so, and she just launches into this story, and it almost feels like she more wanted to get something off of her chest rather than actually get a reading. But she talks about her older sibling has, for the last couple of months, been talking about their grandfather, and they are not supposed to talk about their grandfather, and they're upsetting the entire family, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's trying to get everyone on the same page, and she's just so upset about this whole thing. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tell him to stop, because he has a point. He has a point. I want to find Grandpa. I want to know who Grandpa is, but we're not supposed to talk about him because Grandma's gone, and it's this whole thing, and help. Please.
I will set out the cards, and I will actually fan them out.
Okay.
I will I need a drop of your blood.
Why?
You want to see the wheels of your fortune? You want to see the paths that can follow?
Why do you need my blood?
It assists. It'll be used up in the spell. I can promise you that.
Okay. And she'll, reach out her hand.
I'll take one of my smaller daggers and just prick her finger.
Just like a pin, like a sewing pin. Or...
Yeah.
Okay. You look, you've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had clients who are this upset about it before. You've never seen a client who, when you prick their finger and you get that little bit of blood, it is not red. It's this kind of, and I mean, blood is not necessarily universal, but it is not a specific color. It's this kind of dark, iridescent, just for a moment, looks like the inside of a galaxy, and then kind of shifts to be the color you expect, like the color that you've seen on humans is red. And shifts to be like that regular red color, but just for a moment you think you can see an entire galaxy in that drop of blood, and then it's gone, and you're not even sure if you imagined that. But she doesn't seem to notice anything different. She's just kind of very nervously holding her hand out.
I will flip her hand over, and I will push her hand on top of the cards.
Okay. What now?
I will start casting augury.
Okay.
And pretty much the mist of blood will start trailing out of my eyes and touching onto the cards.
She roll me a persuasion check.
It's a natural 5 for 11.
It's enough that she doesn't pull her hand away. Okay, that's weird.
And the blood will grab 4 different cards,
Okay.
and they'll all raise up.
Okay.
Pick one.
3. Grabs the third one from her left.
You look up augury.
Now, if I remember correctly, augury, you ask it a question, what happens if we do X, basically.
Yeah. And
it gives you...
And that's where I was going to say, before you look, ask, what actions do you wish to take?
Do I talk to my sibling about this, or do I let them do what they want?
Now flip it.
Flip.
Okay, now is this a good result or a bad result?
Wheel and wood.
Okay.
It is both. It is more specific than you're used to getting through this spell, which is fucking weird. You get the sense that what is happening, what is being asked, is beyond the scope of what even prophecy could tell you. It is something that there are no good answers to. The card that is drawn seems to indicate the time for action has passed. Now it is the time to deal with the consequences of actions that have already been taken. What does that mean?
No matter what actions you take, people will be upset.
I knew that.
I know. Talking to your siblings will help. However, the consequences will need to be dealt with. In order to avoid all of this conflict, the time has already passed. However, if you are strong enough, you should be able to burden yourself and those around you to the point that they all can handle the weight.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't pay you. What?
For you, this one is free.
No. No. And she, like, starts kind of searching it. Oh! I know, and she'll, like, pull off, she has, like, a cloak pin of a moth. You know, it's this little pewter cloak pin of a moth. Here. Please. I insist.
Does this moth look familiar to me?
Roll me... history.
Ooh, it's a 10. For a total of probably 9. Yep, 9.
9. I mean, like, it's a moth.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen other effigies of moths around. It seems to be kind of a common theme in a lot of art, especially in Odiev.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the symbol you were told to look for the alleyway was a moth, but that doesn't necessarily seem to...
Oh, that was a pricey spell, too.
Hmm?
That took 8 hit points from me.
Ouchie!
Yeah. It's a pricey spell.
Yeah. She appreciates it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the moth motif seems to permeate a lot of Odiev. It doesn't look like the same patterning of moth that you were told to look for.
Okay.
It's very simple, and it's made of pewter, and it's very, well worn, patinaed in the corners. Please, I insist.
If you do not mind me asking, can I have your family's name? Otherwise, the moth will be fine.
I can't tell you. My name is Jin. I can't tell you my family.
Very well, Jim. Can I have the name of your grandfather? I might be able to find him on my travels.
I don't know. We don't know who he is.
I see.
Grandma knew. We don't know.
Thank you,
I
Jim.
doubt you would find him. But please. I insist.
Very well. I'll grab it. And I'll pack up.
Okay.
Be safe, Star Child. And I will walk away.
You start to pack up, and she gets up, and you look away from her, and as you look up to say this, she's gone. She's disappeared. But the day is over. You go find your lodgings at the Candleglow Inn.
I made a gold back.
You made gold. Also mark off 2 gold because he took more than 3 gold from you.
I knew. I knew what I was going to be.
Yeah. But
So it costs 5 gold. Hey, so I'm only down 3 silver.
there you go.
Cool. It was a moth.
A pewter moth cloak pin. It doesn't have any jewels or glass jewels or anything in it. It's just a moth. It looks like a Luna moth. But
Okay.
settle in for the evening. You get ready for what adventures they will bring tomorrow and the day after when you set out. And that's where we're going to end with this little mini session. Very excited.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to be keeping out for any other Star Touched.
You're gonna learn some things.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
I'm looking forward to it.
But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us on this treacherous adventure, and we shall see you in our next little trailer in 2 weeks. Keep an eye out on December 26th is when we're going to drop the first episode of the actual campaign. Go back and check out our little one-shot that we did on All Hallows Eve, and stay safe out there.
Good night.